I just want to welcome all of you for being here. This is, I mean, from an energy perspective, and that's where I come from, a much of an energy perspective. We have never been at a time of this. Never. Energetically, never. We may look out in the world and go like, oh my gosh, this is a repeat of a repeat of a repeat. And that is very true. But energetically, it is not at all the same. We have so much, more available and awareness, etc., than we've ever had before. And it's not a time to just sit on our hands and say, okay, well, somebody will take care of it. you know, there's something everyone can do that is valuable and doable for them. That said, I'm going to have, if you will, just find a place where your body is held and it doesn't have to do anything for you. It got you here. You are that soul presence within that bodysuit. The body is every bit as important because it gives you the presence on the planet. So just allow that breath to move in and out of your nostrils. Energy saying first to the body, thank you. And you can be held bodysuit in loving arms, healing arms while we talk. Just imagine that breath being energy coming from your divine family. Whatever name you give that greater force of life, of which you are an extended part. You may sense it as a quality, a color, a presence enfolding you. You are not alone on this planet. And with your next breath, let that energy move right down the midline of your body, down your legs and out your feet, saying to Gaia, thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for offering your home for me and those I love. You feel her presence. And let that breath move you right down to the next level of networking, your sisters, circles all over the planet, times past, times present, times future. Sisters, those who are and have had female experiences, gain wisdom, strength from the collaboration we do together. Take another breath and move even deeper into the core of Mother Earth, where there is that mycelium of wisdom of women, strengths, connections, resources, knowings that cannot be touched by any corrupting energies. And place your energy there, the projects you are involved with, the dreams you are unfolding, the hopes that you have. Think them, imagine them intentionally into that great field. And let that breath now, enriched by all of those various regions, move up and through your body, enlivening all of the chakras, power centers, cocooning you in a strong, loving energy of curiosity. Curiosity. We're here on the sacred ground of sovereignty with a golden cocoon that contains all the vibrational fields and blessings and healings and strengthenings, resources, protections. A golden cocoon. And you ask for that same field to be placed around your home, your land, everyone you love, and all those in the field of humanity who are here on purpose, on mission. And then just imagine yourself, that soul awareness, consciousness self, breathing and lifting up above the contaminated energies that Earth has been contained with, up above that field of foggy, cloudy, to what we'll call the fourth world, region way beyond that contamination, corruption, separation, but into the field of wisdom. And it is in that field that we will have conversation, discussions, sharing, listening and hearing, seeing what emerges and speaking it truthfully. In the climate that we now find ourselves in, of the extreme of domination in all of its forms. And adding anything or anyone that you feel to. Complete that circle setting, intention setting, and bring your attention back and be present with this circle at this time. So welcome, everyone. So I think before we get into discussion, I think it's important for us to be able to just sit, what is heavy on your heart, confusing on your heart, anything that needs to be put into our burning pot, and so that we can be more clear as we're sharing today. So we're just going to do that in the chat. So just take 30 seconds or so. Think about what it is that's right there that needs to be at least acknowledged and put into the chat. And then we'll do that before we go on to anything else.
Mm.
And now we'll take time to speak what we put into the chat into the circle.
It's Chinese New Year at the moment. And I'm being bothered by how much of my traditions should go to my grandchildren and my children. Because it's causing a lot of conflict. Not bad conflicts, but uncomfortable conflicts. And I've spent the last 2-3 hours, before I came here, trying to sort my. I've received a lot of emails from the company called Imperial, and they are the company that I used to do my work. But I've put them on hold because I haven't been using them for quite about a year or so. But suddenly I got about 4 or 5 bills from them, and they was not small bills, they were very big bills. And then I wrote to them, and then they said, I think your email has been hacked. So be very careful about how emails get hacked. So I've been spending many, many hours with them. And recently I've been hacked also by emails because I wanted to invest. I invest in the cryptocurrency, and I found out that also a lot of hacking. I mean, a lot of scamming there. So one must be very, very careful. The scamming is coming in all directions, and yet we do need the internet, and yet we do need digital communication.
Mm-hmm.
But they bother me. Fortunately, I am calm enough and still bright enough there to tackle it. I don't get overwhelmed. But still, it has required many hours of work today just to get my email unhacked.
Wow.
Because if you sort of delete your email address and create a new one, I don't know about you people, but I use my email address for everything. So, well, this is what has been heavy on my heart right now. And I've been cooking the whole of today because my children are coming for a Chinese New Year dinner tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Okay. I heavy on my heart. I get at this point in time, I do a pretty good job of managing my own emotions. But ever since Trump was sworn in and started doing these things, and even before that, I have many friends, and my granddaughter is LBGTQ, and they're just terrified and about what that might mean to them. And we also knew quite a bit of immigrant populations, Mexicans that are undocumented. In my life and my daughter's life, we just know people about that, and it just feels horrifying. And so I'm very concerned for all the fear that so many people have. Especially, it's too early to know how it's really going to affect most of those people, but they're still very terrified, and I'm feeling that for them.
Thank you. I think what is on my heart is probably why I'm motivated to do this, and beyond what I was going to be doing this year, is that what is mine to do? I mean, it's something I can't say there I'm just going to let it slide. It's something to do. What is mine to do? Knowing the different possibilities. So that 4 or 5 years down the road, I will be able to say, I don't know where plan B, his plan, will take us. My plan A, I did all that I knew to do to make the plan different. And I just want to be able to know that's what I've done. Hey.
I think I do a pretty good job of self-care, but most of the people I'm around, even though who I would say are fairly awake, I see how easily people's energy is being co-opted and directed to the chaos. And I really, besides my presence, I really want to know how I can be supportive to help them recenter and not be so energetically connected to the chaos. And I have had, people asking, what can I do? Where can I be? So that's part of the support I need from these type groups. Thank you.
Well, as you see what I put in the chat, my heart is heavy over the growth of this use of swastikas and love for Hitler. As I mentioned before we began, I am carrying on my father's work because he was a U.S. intelligence officer during World War II, assigned to interrogate Nazi prisoners of war. He was also a spy, but he was also a literary man, and he kept all his letters to my mother and hers to his. And the eerie thing about it is that they sound like they echo today. It's just amazing to me. And my father kind of saw that. He would ask, because he was a Harvard graduate, an intellectual man, he would ask, how did this happen in a culture, a society that was so advanced as Germany? How could it be? And we ask the same thing today. A lot of it was silence. A lot of it was, we don't like the people who don't look like us. It's eerie how much it looks like today.
To note them.
To note them, to share them. And so many people do not have a sense of history. They don't understand what my father saw. And that is why I am able to be sort of his legacy. I would love to do more, right? To speak more, but I'm just me. I don't have a large organization behind me. I don't have huge funds behind me, but I persevere.
You're speaking to us as we know that feeling.
So, wow. A lot of what you've been saying is echoed in my own internal space in the last couple of weeks, especially in the last week, I'd say. I just want to share with you very, very smallly, briefly, that I used to be incredibly successful in the professional field at a very high level before ending up on the byway of life for 16 years, a byway on the from the American rat race, I guess you would say, but also from the eyesight of those time in that space. Been blessed by beautiful humans in nearly every minority group who are right now afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a heavy weight on me because they have blessed my life. And so part of like my experience in going through torture suffering for 16 years in basically just storm unending and megastorms colliding, I have experience something beautiful in that time. It is, I feel so much like so connected to what our sister just shared about having such beautiful knowledge that her father passed on to her, and feeling like I have nobody behind me to share. I don't know how to share my stories, but I feel they can connect. And so I pray within like that space of recentering. I felt like in a stupor for so long those last couple of weeks, and felt confused that how did I get disconnected from my center when I know how beautiful it is there? Isn't that interesting? And the way that I was able to get back, I want to be able to share these thoughts and experiences and connect with others who um, who can enrich what I share, enrich my life. We can enrich each other's lives and make a difference. Because, yeah, this energy that you talk about, Sharon, just so contaminated. Just we who know how to tap in above the fray, how do we get our voices? Either how do we get our wisdom for this time centered within us, and then also being able to join with others who know how to get that center.
The value of being together. That's great insight. Thank you.
Hi, I would share that I do my best to maintain a big picture perspective. And for me, on the big picture, I see a threat to obviously global stability and peace. And yeah, I was thinking about that today as I was doing some volunteer work for a local group here. You know, we haven't really had a war here in this country. And does that mean that we never will? Right. And where are we going? And so I think that and yeah, that war among people, but also against the planet and the environment. That's huge for me. I'm a friend of the environment, and really, it's heavy. It weighs heavily on me to see development, to see mindless, I guess, domination taking over of spaces, build, baby, build. And, it's sickening to me. And so those are the two things that impact me the most right now.
Hi. Yeah, I'm looking at the bigger picture and seeing how we need to keep our hope and connection of love and light with everybody, because this is a very different sort of attack on our country and our democracy. Instead of a big army coming in, I see it as a small group of cyberspace people really taking over and taking advantage and taking away our democracy. So I feel like that's going really fast. But I think we have to stay connected and stay in the love space of humanity. We need to be holding people in our hearts and in our communities more so. And I don't know how else to keep the calm. That's a big thing, is just keep ourselves in a good space.
I can relate to everything everybody said, but I took it very personally, and I don't usually do this, but what's heavy on my heart is what happens to my 64-year-old, soon to be 65. I can't drive down that far anymore, so I can't see him as often, which in a way doesn't matter because he doesn't remember if I'm there or I'm not there. That's the good news. But he's quite isolated where he's at as the youngest person in this small group home. Anyway, that's I've been in that a lot this week, trying to get some care for him and getting someone to, my family is all further away than I am, and yet my other son is taking on some of this responsibility, and means he takes off a day. Anyway, that's where it was heavy for me. But of course, the conditions in the world are always present. As I identify as a sacred activist, and I've done this work for 50 or more years. But so I hope to get into this more later, but I don't have a heavy heart, that heavy a heart. I see a lot of hope and a lot of possibility, and an idea came to me before this started, so I'll save it for later. Thank you.
Nothing is heavy on my heart because I have lived a very challenging life, and I've allowed myself to get sucked into the chaos and the stupidity and the lack of integrity and the lack of accountability. And I just don't go there anymore. So I have learned how to detach and just stay as much as possible, except I missed it today. I missed this earlier, but I was busy out in my little organic garden, which lost its water, so I had to go out and water. I've totally, this is on my calendar. I don't see it, but I have learned how to keep myself right here, right now, and detach. I don't watch a lot of TV. I'm sick and tired of watching the name calling and the fighting and the stupidity, and I don't want to get sucked into it, and I don't want to add to it.
Got it. Got it. So I want to suggest that you take 5 minutes to just stretch, because I'm going to go into presenting some possibilities and ideas. And so instead of breaking up that segment, let's just take 5 minutes, stretch, potty break, walk your dog shortly, whatever you need to do. And we'll be back at 51 before the hour. Okay. Okay. That said, now I'm going to share my screen. As you probably, most of you know, some of you may not, I've been doing energy healing work since '89. And I've been working with people. I first started mostly with those who were trying to make their life work. It was the most emotional and get career, and eventually it became very physical too. So I've worked in the healing arena for many, 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 many years with lots and lots of people. And what I found is that we have to, recognizing that we are a soul, an energy identity. And I think, if that's something foreign to you, that consider it. We're here in curiosity, remember? That we are a soul, and the physical body is what carries us around. I always call it a body suit. I kind of differentiate that I'm a soul from beyond the planet, and I'm presently in a bodysuit. And in my work, we are 64 dimensions of frequency, not just our bodysuit. So this is a model I've used many, many times to help explain vibrations and dimensions and how it relates to life and to a healing. Vibrations are just simply that. They are harmonics, and they vibrate at a different speed. Those that are heavier and made heavier for whatever reason are made heavier. They're slowed down, and we would call it the slowest on the planet would be dimension 1, slowest frequencies. The higher frequencies on planet Earth would be 8. It's just faster. So you have all of these frequencies within our Earth experience. We have 8 regions. We are multidimensional living beings. And we talk about the bodies, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual bodies. And the way it relates to these dimensional regions is dimension 1, 2, 3 are what we would discern with our physical sensing system. So we call this the physical dimensions or the physical body, because we discern it with our physical body suit. We are not just 1, 2, 3 dimensions. We live beyond our suit. And those energies that are a little bit faster are discerned by different receptors in our life on the planet. So 4 and 5, a little bit faster, are discerned with our mental receptor. So we call it the mental body or the mental dimensions. That which is the 6th and the lower part of the 7th, we discern it with our emotional receptors, and we call it the emotional body or the emotional dimensions. 7 and 8, upper of 7 and 8, are discerned with spiritual receptors, and we call it the spiritual body. There is no break that separates the physical body from the spiritual. You'd be dead. You see, all of this is of one vibration. This is your life force, and you experience all of these different dimensional receptors in different ways, like different language. You have a physical language, sight, sound, smell, feel, touch. You have mental receptors, you have emotional receptors, and you have spiritual receptors. Now, those of us who work in spiritual worlds, in what I've discovered is a total of 64 or 54 dimensions above 8. So all of this would be those unseen worlds that is usually discounted, in which there is also our life force, but we do not discern it with any of these other receptors. And for some people, they don't discern it at all, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So when I'm dealing with a client who comes to me with an issue, let's say that they are dealing with something that's pretty immediate, like cancer. That's pretty immediate. We do not want to take a lot of time, 3 or 4 years, to figure out what to do. The model that will most quickly impact the multidimensionality that you are is to have tools or processes or professionals that have expertise in the physical dimension. That's why I don't discount Western medicine. It's in there. Diets in there. Natural remedies in there. But also, and eventually that will make a difference here and then eventually here, but it might take a lot of time. So if you have professionals that can help you with your mindset, with the mental constructs that you're dealing with, and then another who can deal with your emotional constructs, and then somebody who can see what's going on in the spiritual or even in galactic dimensions, and you do something here and then here and then here and then here, not always one, not always spiritual, because it's going to take time for these dimensions to get down here. If you want to heal most quickly, you do an integrated protocol. You get professionals and tools for each one of those. So we've talked today about how do I stay centered and at peace. You have your tools. Make a list of them. What do you know? You eat well. You go into nature. You spend time meditating. You spend time doing like affirmation work. I call it reality declaration, but similar. What do you know about how to handle the emotional body, and how do you connect with those spiritual vibrations? And put together a protocol for all of that. It is the very same thing that is important when you're looking at what we're dealing with in the world. One way of dealing with the world is there's a lot of this, the physical actions. We make phone calls, we petition, we march, a lot of physical. And I will say, unfortunately, I'm going to stop this. In our world, that has been made the most valuable thing. And if you're not doing something physical, you are not participating well. No. In a healing, transformative place, you need this and this and this and this and this, and then go back, and you need a very large variety of actions, of processes, of people, activities toward one goal. I have a good friend, Rivera-san, who's been in the nonviolence movement for a very long time. And she was quoting some research, and unfortunately, I didn't have it on the top of my head this morning. So I'm just going to give it to you, and then I'll see about looking it up. But there was a study done in which they took, those who were doing the research took similar situations in the world over a great deal of time. They were similar situations, and one was a nonviolent movement. I mean, a movement. That means a variety of actions, and military, and compared where the change happened. It probably will not surprise you. Military never did affect the change, never did make a change. Military never did make a change. Can I say that enough? Nonviolence made a change, I think it was 80+% of the time. Do we ever hear about that? Nah, not unless you've studied the nonviolence. So it's powerful to be part of a movement that has many, many, many possibilities. And it doesn't have to be all about, in fact, fighting, is not going to get us there. Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to share. Now, if you thought, I listened to some of the things you said and I went, oh my gosh, here are some pieces right here. So I'm going to share my screen again. With different words. Now, what I often do with clients and with students, I have them write down all of the different healing modalities they either know or know of. So massage, food, meditation, breathing, of course. They write down all of the tools they have in their toolbox. And then I have them put it into categories. Where does changing diet most fit? It's going to impact the physical first. Where does doing meditation most fit? And each person is different. It might be the emotional body. Where does doing affirmation work and setting new goals, where does that fit? Writing new stories, mental, you see? So they write down all the things that they know or know of. Then they put them into the categories, and they often see that they're using maybe one or two, because I'm afraid in our metaphysical new growth, personal growth arena, we have felt that we have that separation going on. All we do is love, all we do is love, all we do is love. That's a piece. I have a very good friend. I've known her, oh my gosh, since the early 90s. And she goes and she travels into these other worlds, as I do. And the information she brings back is very different than the information I bring back. And we finally realized that her job was here. You see where I have it in green? She is a holder of sacred home harmonics. She does not get caught up in anything else. She is going to play the harp. She's going to sing her songs. She is going to do her meditations, and she's going to encourage everybody. She holds that frequency. That's her job because she loves it. Now, I have another friend, and she got pretty upset at me because of some political stuff, because didn't I see what so-and-so is doing? And I want to say to you that this contaminated energy that I just call it domination, parasitic, outsider, its agenda is to dominate and control. It isn't a person necessarily. It is energy manipulating the person, manipulating the mind. It's an energy. And it has been here for thousands and thousands and thousands of hundreds of thousands of years. And everyone can have moments in which that flows out of our mouth, where there's a co-optedness without us even thinking or knowing about it. So she was telling me that, don't you see that this is who she is? Now, I could have come back at her and say, wait a minute, this is a good guy. But I know that very good possibility she saw something flowing out of that person's mouth that was not what I would call of a divine family agenda. So I don't argue with her. I say thank you, because here's what she is doing. She is being a whistleblower. She is showing me, telling me something that I did not personally see or experience. And I'm not going to fight her on it. She saw something. But if I don't know what to do about it, I might fight her on it. But she's a whistleblower. How many people in our world in your lifetime have been whistleblowers and said, this is what's going on? And we're going like, I don't see it. And they have been crushed, run out of the country, imprisoned, etc. Whistleblower is a very important role. But what do you do next? That's what is new energetically. We have ways to take that information and pass it on to someone else. My holder of harmonics, she's not going to do anything about it. That's not her job. She's going to fill it with light and love. That's great. But we also have the ability now to go and say, I don't know, I don't have to see it, but possibly there's some energy there, and I'm going to bring energy from beyond Earth to clear out those frequencies. I call them the blasters. There are some who travel back in time to heal the past, because if we don't change the past, we will continue to repeat it. What about those who are partnering with Gaia? What has happened to Gaia since we got here? I mean, star beings. We're star beings, ladies. We're star beings in these physical bodies. And now we're beginning to understand, we're waking up that we have a job to do. Our maternal line has not been able to do it. We can. We need to partner with Gaia, because she's got to also be returned to her duty and her glory. Some people love to heal and transform. My whistleblower, she's just going to be a whistleblower, and then she's going to get on with her life. Some are wanting to heal and transform and help people. Some will want to educate, tell truth. Some are called collaborative weavers. And there's some in here that are doing these very things and doing more than one. I'm not going to share names, because you know who you are. There are those who know that we can broadcast new visions from our homes. I call them the crystal broadcasters. Where are we going toward? We know what we don't want. Whistleblowers telling us that. Blasters are getting rid of the seeds. Travelers are going back and say, we're not going to bring forward anything against that. There are those who are guarding the new. They are guarding what is growing. There are those who are kind of like, okay, report back, let's stay unified. So there's many roles that we can play to be effective. And those are kind of the ones I've identified. But you see how it corresponds with this. My whistleblower might be right here. She's going to see the stories made manifest and say, these stories are not good. Those up here in the spiritual world are going to keep flowing divine energy into us. All there is love. Well, down here, not all there is love, but they're going to hold that and filling that in. That's their job. There are some who are marching and doing the physical things to break free those constructs, you see? So with that in mind, what is it that you maybe have thought about doing or being involved with? And just think about that and put it in the chat again, okay? It might even be something that you didn't think was possible because nobody's doing it yet. Some of the ideas shared in the circle. The sacred geometry of the kinship way, what it has to tell us about how we organize to govern ourselves. Blessings all. Ask difficult questions, a question keeper. Education about love. What does love look like in a given situation? I'm still listening and seeking. My activities include bringing information to others, as well as compassionate listening, training, fostering cross-cultural connections. I want to create on social media what people are doing or want to do and attract others who agree and want to make it happen as well. Encourage dialogue exchange. I am the founder of Planetary Peace, Power, and Prosperity, and know that I hold a solution to all human created suffering. The poem, A Great Curiosity in Life. I found on the byway hidden treasure awaiting those determined to love. Unspeakable, steadfast, unchanging are they, come what may. My friend, I tell myself, centering we live in dark times, unprecedented. The journey inward to the heart, the only way to liberation, truly in the chaos, the fear surrounding. There in the heart a refuge, a great mystery of life, remembering, the tapping in, the oasis of love, of peace, tranquility, bliss, intuition rising, stores of wisdom, unlimited, awaiting us there in the heart, healing, grounding, freedom. Wanting to find others who feel this and experience this, to hear their stories, collect their stories, and create something beautiful for those who are seeking. Share maybe in a podcast or interviews.
Having my back. Semantic, which means meaning.
Meaning.
And it's using your words to give meaning to your life.
Yeah. Okay.
And it functions at both a microcosmic level, each human being of the 7 billion plus people on the planet, but also at a macrocosmic level, because if everyone on this planet would bring inner peace, a sense of personal empowerment, and a sense of prosperity or gratitude or abundance into their own one precious life, it would be planetary. And
you see what's here in this moment. So I'm going to share with you what I've done to this point, because what we are doing, we can do better together than we can alone. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to do what we need to do. And then, I don't know where we can go, but I think we can go. So I'm going to share what you may have seen and maybe not seen yet, to give you ideas of possibilities that we might take further. So this is what I started this year before the election, because of the book. My book is all about the galactic to Gaia. It's a great deal about what's important about women waking up and so my contribution was getting out there more with that particular voice. And then we had the election, and now we have the 2 week after the inauguration. I mean, we are going speedily down a rabbit hole that we've seen before. I haven't seen it before exactly, but it's been here before. So here we have a waking women moving mountains, and that's the home. So the next thing I did, and these are the weavers. These are women who are doing such things, and I invite you to let me know of more. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go down here. So we have a Divine Feminine app. We have art, changing life through art of various kinds, our blogs, videos, and you'll see some of the names of people who are here today. Books and writing. You see that? You see people? And I bet you have people that I haven't got on here yet. Conversations and discussions, events and gatherings, films and movies, harmonious homes, our healing. These are women doing things now. Music organizations, You don't have to search. This is a good place to begin. Online options, children options, and projects to bring benefit. On that page also is a list of the values that people, probably you, relate to, called cultural creatives. What are the values we are holding that we don't even acknowledge, and yet we hold them? And here's some of the roles that I just read to you. So that can be added to as a holder of what women are doing to weave the world new. Now, what we have additionally, because I think we're in very different times, but we can go there from here. I go down here to options, and this is where we are for today. So this is a page on that site for those who want to know possibilities. So here is like, just my welcome to the page. Here's Deborah Levine and her father. And a link to the article that talks about how Hitler dismantled democracy in 53 days. You think we've got time? We don't have time. But we can say we're ready. How many times have you heard, we were born for a time such as this, we're prepared? Well, okay, we got to start putting our actions where our mouth has said we are, in my opinion. And then here's an overview of various things from various places. What we are being bombarded with is causing brain disconnect. We are with broken brain syndromes, and you must, I think, manage your brain as well as manage your emotional stability. Here's some possibilities saying we're not going to be powerless, and these are just kind of overviews. Now, here's the directory of options. You may know more. I'm sure you know more than what I've gathered. Here's books and manuals for our children. There's Rivera's son. She's got writings for lots. Conversations and discussions that are going on. And that's the tip of the iceberg, I guarantee you. Here's some more down here. Here are actually learning how to be in conversation. Education and mentoring. And you'll see we have Marianne Booty here. Vera again. Financial participation. There's more than that one, I can tell you that. Mass action, more than that. Here is media and fact checking. And this is just a list of, and there'll be a list here. How do you fact check? A great, just a lovely book for keeping the mind quieted during any time. Organizations, projects that are benefiting local, learning some spiritual areas. See, we need where are some new creations? What's going on with new structures? We need some. Women weaving the world new. We started in 2012, Marilyn and I, with this group here. We set the values for this world, for this country, and for our lives. We did that in 2012. Marilyn said, what do we do next? I said, I don't have the next step. That's not mine. But here we are, the same values, and it's time for the next step. So here we are. And then just agreements and values, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a good beginning place that how can we, and what would be the next step? Would what would the next step be? Just meeting monthly, those who want to, and say, this is what I've learned, or finding that you're going to break into smaller groups or local groups, or what would be the next step? Maybe the next step would be for you to sit with this new information, to see what's already available, to see what's bubbling up in you, and know that this is a place, my site is a place where your contribution idea can be held. And then if we wanted to say, let's meet monthly, we could. And I don't know what's next. I'm just saying, I think it's time that we start doing some nexts. So I'm going to open up So what's next, ladies?
So can I start?
You're on, Anna.
Well, this is absolutely fascinating. I've seen you talking about this page, and I don't know that I've ever gotten to it per se. So here's the interesting thing, and where we are melding again. I have been struck with Buckminster Fuller's comment. A long time ago, I've been saying it, talking about it, and what he basically said is, stop killing the dinosaur, create the gazelle. Now, I've been sitting with what is the gazelle for days now, and I've been talking about it. And just before this call, I said to my partner, I said, I've got this idea. I think we need a Facebook or on all of the social media, a page that says, what is your gazelle? In other words, if I want to do a project, I would put up the project and then have a place for people to sign up for that project or to contact me or to make it go. It really complements what you have done already, and that's what's in my mind. I think a lot about what the gazelle is going to look like. And that's what came to my mind was you encourage people to share their gazelles and to build on that. And we can do that online.
This is already happening
Yes.
all over the planet. I
Yes.
can't tell you how many groups I am connected with who they all have different names. They all have maybe different people in them, different structures, but they're all building like this together and connecting one another. I'm certainly doing that all the time. A lot of it you don't see because it's going on beneath the surface, but it's there.
Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the values that I want to have a site where those platforms are at least seen. You're on that platform. Another one we're involved with is on that platform. The ones that are already doing things, they just need to have a place where we can say, oh, you're doing stuff. And we may want to work with somebody in the group, might want to work with them, or they might not. It's encouraging that they're being done. And what I want to also look at is that model of what's the physical, what's the mental, what's the emotional, and what's the spiritual, and what's the galactic, and make sure that we are that there is action going on all of those levels, not by everyone, but acknowledging that they are all part of us. We are all one. We are Rainbow Tribe. We aren't just a march and do petition tribe. That's a piece. So, what I'm saying here is this platform is saying, where do you want to fit? We want to know about it. So, yes, and I've got several of those sites and willing to put any more on those 2 pages. And I can't gather them all. It's just, there's too much, but I do have many.
I think there are many groups but the point is how to actually gather these groups to speak with one voice. I personally think there are many groups around and how to speak with one voice. But speaking from my own experience, as you know, I'm running 2 groups, 2 storytelling groups. I do it because I get a lot out of it, trying to organize these things. But what I'm doing with most of these groups is introducing them to new concepts. And I'm still not sure because the groups are fairly new. They're about, we have only met 4 or 5 times. But they must be getting enough because the same people come back again. But on the other hand, if I want to make it any bigger, it will first and foremost require a lot more energy. But then people do not have enough time when they meet. So sometimes it may be better just to work with smaller groups rather than bigger groups, because people really have need to talk. People really have very much need to talk. But what I feel is, like this group here, what do we want to do together? How to gather the voice together? This is actually my question. How, like when I looked at your page just before I came on, Sharon, there was so much information I could be so overwhelmed that I just didn't know where even to start.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. How about this? You know, you're doing, I think an individual, if you come to an awareness that what we are in right now is we are in a race of some kind. It's a game of some kind. And like you said, I think what is the end goal and who has the same end goal I have? Now that might be a question that if I'm got this container, I might want to put out to everyone on that page. This is the end goal. One of the end goals we're holding on this page. Are you in alignment to that in relationship to what you're doing? Not the only goal, but maybe clarifying that we have at least one common goal in alignment. Everyone on that page has at least one common goal, because common goals are really important. And then an awareness that there are unlimited, we are beings of light. There is no limit to our information, our curiosity, our creativity. There's no limits. And the more we break free of our shackles of not enough, the more unlimited we are. And we have in the past, how do we deal with that? Because in the past, we kind of compartmentalized and fought each other, who's most important, etc. But if we say, okay, common goal is important, and understanding that we need a multiplicity of approaches is important. So there's an agreement. A multiplicity of approaches. We are a rainbow tribe is important. Then you can look at that page and go like, wow, look at that rainbow tribe. And it doesn't overwhelm you because you know that your piece, and let's just use that educator and truth teller, you're learning, you're helping people learn in whatever way you do. It doesn't have to be big. It is exactly what works for you. And you've spoken to it, what it is. And I've been in those groups and it works. It's great. So now what you now know is I can relax into my peace, the peace that makes my heart happy. That which is calling me, that I'm calling forth, which is a new world, somehow new world, is calling to me too. And the piece that really resonates to me is, we'll just use you as an example in this place, teaching through stories, letting people tell their stories. We're learning from each other. You are a truth teller and educator. And I can so relax because all of these multiplicities are going on. You do not have to explore the multiplicities.
Okay.
See? You don't have to. If you're looking to find your way, you could explore the multiplicities. Now, where I'm at right now is thinking maybe what would be the first thing is, what is the goal? What is that bigger goal? I've said weaving the world new. Now that's a bigger goal with not, it doesn't even have the values.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's small. It's a big one. But within the bigger one, then what's the more common one is, weaving a world new with the values that bring benefit to all life forms, something like that, which includes Gaia, which includes our family. But the bigger goal, that outcome that we want for this situation, but for pretty much all situations, what is that goal? And that would be the first thing to say. We in this group have that in common. You see? And then we could say, and we want to hear from you, Marilyn. Where are you a month down the road? We'll support you in any way we can, because you have this idea of the gazelle. What's the new? Encouraging the new. Leon's here. Encourage learning and story and curiosity. And we don't have to work together with that as much as we can this is our goal, and we love what you each are doing. And maybe the next step would be then let's meet, 2 weeks down the road. I hate to put a month down because we're so far. Where are we 2 weeks down the road in relationship to our peace we can relax into, because we're in a tribe, and our tribe has the outcome we're holding is we are women, first of all, women, weaving the world new, bringing the values of all good to benefit all life forms into manifestation.
I think I think what I hear you say, and I hope I'm hearing you say, Sharon, is that maybe you can help us exactly what you're talking about right now, how to formulate that particular, I think you call it role. Maybe by talking to each other, or you, especially from you can guide us, haha, you are here,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
you are here, so that, and then that particular person, for example, myself, then I can say, aha, yes, it's true that I am here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
we still need a little bit of guidance as far as the roles are concerned. I think
Right.
the concept that you have, that we all have different roles to play,
Yeah.
and that we do not all need to have the same role.
Role. Yes.
And then you can, as you say, then you can relax into your role, and the
Uh-huh.
other person can relax into their role.
Right.
But I think it would be nice, especially at the beginning of this 1 year, that you help us that are in your course to formulate it. Some of
Mm-hmm.
us need
Mm-hmm.
no help, but I think many of us do need help to formulate it.
Right.
One of the things that happened to me through this election, I woke up the next morning in total fear. And suddenly I looked and realized I have lived in fear all my life. I mean, from childhood on, I've lived in fear. And of course, you turn the TV on and you hear, get very afraid, and this is happening. And I hear from all of us that, I mean, all of us are saying, oh my God, this is happening. So I think I'm looking at fear now as a huge entity that fills our lives. And I don't want to add to it anymore. And it's not an easy habit to break, believe me. But I think we have to stop feeling fear and passing it on. Like we get in discussion about how bad it is. I don't want to have those discussions. I want to have this discussion of what we're going to do about what we think is so bad. And so I would just, just looking at all of you and thinking of all the people I know, if we each removed that element in our lives, that alone would impact others and ourselves. So I just want to suggest we look at the times that fear comes up for us and how we can release it.
Good idea.
I just wanted to add that I, like Janet, have been asked to join many different organizations online, especially because they're global, and it's overwhelming. Right? The number of things, and each one of them has their own platform, their own structure, and different groups and calendars, and frankly, it doesn't help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the people I've met are wonderful, and the requests are wonderful, but the creation of doing something, figuring out what is the goal, right, is not helped by it all. So I guess I persevere because I've done this for so many years. I like to publish other people. I want you all to write your story. The storytelling is so
Yep.
impactful. But then what do you do with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I publish it and I put out a monthly newsletter. And I'm on LinkedIn and I have my own group. I put together things that are easily accessible and not try to create something new because people's brains are fried.
That's for
Oh,
sure.
right? So it's mine, but I keep on going. Whatever comes up. I think setting goals at this point, in the very early stages of the president's administration, is sometimes pointless because we don't know what this crazy person is going to do. And we don't know how the rest of the world is going to react. It's up and down and all around. But, right, each one of us has skills that we can apply to an organization, to a project that we already are part of, right? Do we have to actually create something new now when everything is total chaos? Maybe it's time to do what we can and wait a bit to see what this is going to look like. And I don't mean long, maybe just a couple of weeks. Just a couple of weeks, right? Because it's so crazy. But if we, right, can process it according to our own talents and skills, right, we'll come up with some ideas.
Okay, let me jump in here. First of all, I would say yes, we do need an outcome. We do need a north star, and the North Star could be something as simple as what I just said. I am a woman weaving the world new, in which energies of all good has manifested to benefit all life forms. We have to have an end result we're working towards. That will help flush up what would stop us. It will flush up what will stop us beyond what we even know. So we have to be prepared. But if we don't have an end result, we're all over the place. So we do need an end result, in my opinion. The other part of that then would be, how do we walk with whatever might be chaotic? And it could be like, I have heard from my inner guidance, what has emerged from me is what I can bring to that end result. I have to really do mine. And so I really think that that's very important, that you do yours, whatever that is. I always tell my students, they want to be involved. They want to make a difference in their life, other lives, etc. And I said, is there a bigger plan that you're a part of? And they can muscle test. And sometimes the answer is no, you're not even part of a bigger plan, because we've cut that off as women. We have cut off our sense of being a part of eons ago. So we have to reconnect with something bigger and then listen to what our part of that is. Many of us are doing that. You know you're doing that. But then the value I'm thinking is in being able to come together and say, there may be a couple of weeks, this is what I'm doing, and this is where I'm, what I'm coming to, where we have a group that isn't about the group, it's about the tribe, and hearing the different pieces of the action taking projects, etc. And we can say go, or we can say, like, you like stories, you do poetry, I want to publish it. You see, there's value, not because we have said, okay, we are going to be an organization. We're a tribe. Maybe we're just a tribe, which is bigger than an organization. And we hold all the different organizational pieces and personal pieces. So I'm thinking, okay, this is where I'm at, and then I'll ask for feedback. I think for me, I've got to have a goal. I mean, I have a goal. I would like to say, propose it. This is that I put this out to you guys, and then we want to come up with something that we're aligned to, big way. So I am a woman weaving the world new, in which energies of all good has manifested to benefit all life forms. That's pretty big and inclusive. And then the other part would be, because I'm a part of that plan, because I'm a part, I listen for what emerges, what excites me. And you might be doing a red part and you're doing a yellow part, and I want to hear about it. And what's exciting to you? And in that, we can say, hey, I want to interview you, or I want you to write here, or can I share that in my circle? That just kind of happens. Okay, questions and answers about that. What do you think? Bigger goal, first of all, and then a personal goal?
Yes, I agree 100%. There needs to be a shared, common, large, but not tightly defined goal so it fits everybody. And I wrote for my thing, I was thinking of doing the same words almost, except instead of energy, it had to do with system structure, because that's the way I think of it. But it's the same idea. We're creating we're creating a different way of being, something we want to leave to our grandchildren or great great grandchildren and so on. So yeah, and I was also reading something about forming communities that maybe it was from you. I don't know where I read it. I read so much I forget. But that the first thing needed to create any kind of on the ground or online community is that central shared mission or something, which like for some organizations it comes because it is a shared issue.
Mm-hmm.
And we share an issue. The way the world is right now is an issue.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not a new issue, but anyway, yeah, so I'm very really exploring the social structure, and through the sacred geometry of like Buckminster Fuller's. um and that really has me captivated, the kinship way and the social structure, like how do we keep the small groups but stay connected into bigger groups so that we create this mycelium that people talk about. So that's what I've been. It was particularly in the kinship way, which brought it to me. Yeah.
How about some of you who haven't spoken, like Karen or Sharon or Lori or Regina? Pamela, I remember we're kind of in this conversation, so pop in. Feel free to pop in. But
I just want to share what keeps coming up for me mentally and emotionally and spiritually is vision. That's the word for me. And I think that you hit on it with the words North Star. And I know, in organizational development or whatever, I guess there's vision and then there's mission and then there's goals, right? Quarterly goals or whatever. So it's the vision. What can we collectively buy into, or what holds the tribe together, right? Like what are we gathering around? The vision, very succinct and clear, I think, and then we feed these other pieces into it and come up with our, task forces or projects for individuals and those kinds of things. So that just the word vision keeps coming up to me, and I don't hear a lot around that today. So I just wanted to throw that out.
I think where I would just comment there, I think that's really important, and for me, probably that statement of what I'm about or what we're about is a beginning beginning vision statement. It doesn't mean it can't change, but that's maybe where we could land something like that today.
My heart of love and gratitude to you, like emotionally, I feel really grateful for you today. And the reason is it is a concrete confirmation of like an experience that I had earlier that was incredibly calming for me. I I had been feeling like what you all are experiencing and sharing. And I wrote a poem about it. I'm not going to share it here because I've already done that twice. But I love to share things that way. But I think what I want to do is really just kind of convey what it was like. I was just really feeling like this heaviness, and and when you and and I just, for the first time ever, and I just love being part of this grandmother's gathering and being exposed to like different way of seeing the world through like our mother, which has not been part of my like journey. And I just got to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to pray to this mother of all mothers I've never prayed to yet before. And I looked inside this crystal that was created by a poem that I wrote, just emanating the most beautiful warmth and feeling. And I prayed, and interestingly, I just melted into the silence. And there before my eyes were pomegranate seeds everywhere. And in one beautiful motion, all of a sudden, if you imagine like, I don't know, if you imagine those drones that you see in such beautiful motion, all of a sudden these pomegranates were in motion, making beautiful visual patterns and spirals and beautiful, beautiful ways, like snow and escapade, just so incredibly beautiful with the most calming comfort. There is more beyond the scenes than you can imagine happening. Peace, be still. You just brought it concrete, and it makes me so happy. It really helps me settle more even into that space. And I appreciate you for that.
That's what happens when we're together. I want to just give those who haven't had a chance to speak first, and then we have others who want to say something.
Okay. Thanks. You touch all those buttons makes me crazy.
Yeah.
I am really not sure what to say. Because I didn't know what to expect coming here. I haven't come to this kind of a group in a long, long time. But my focus has been one-on-one and small groups. And I do spend a lot of time asking the question, what does love look like here? And tossing that out to small groups. I post some wisdom work, I call it, on Facebook. And it really feels important to me to work small. One, who do I live with? What does love look like here?
Mm-hmm.
What in this situation? And I'm looking for my next step, and I'm not sure what it is because I'm suddenly 73. It's the world is different after 70. It the container, the vision, the timeline. I have 30 years to do this the last phase, and I'm figuring out what it is.
Yeah.
And so I am just delighted. I think my biggest excitement for this day, besides being part of this, was seeing that there are so many women who are so committed to a big vision. Is your list of the qualities, the colored, so and so is a whistleblower, and here's another task, and here's another task. I want to study that list and see where are my tasks.
Yeah.
And I see the possibility of doing that. It's like, oh, here is a way to start formulating my plan for the next steps.
Yeah.
And I have, in the last 48 hours, I found your site, Sharon, and read. I didn't read it. I scrolled through the whole thing. And I want to say, I wasn't really overwhelmed. I was relieved.
Mm, mm.
Relieved that, oh, there are other people. There's this and this and this. And I've never felt, and I don't feel now, like I have to be part of everything.
Mhm.
I want to find my pieces. Your question at the very beginning, what is mine to do? Oh, that resonates with me. That's what I'm looking for. What is mine to do? I'm willing to do it. I may have to stretch my boundaries to do it. I may have to learn some new things. I don't like to join groups. I hate joining groups, actually. And here, this group, I've never seen one like this. And so I'm just kind of, I'm in curiosity, total curiosity. I see possibility, and that's why I came. And I'm so glad that I did. And I'm so delighted to meet all of you. I've written down everybody's name so that I can start following what you do. And so that's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So what I would wanted to bring to the discussion was deep listening to all of you, and I can see what's formulating and the reason why it is. And I thank you, Grandmother Sharon, for initiating this phase of our journey together. For me, I have a deep passion in addressing and researching the all of the different ways that gender is viewed in the indigenous world, and how we might be able um, to broaden the vision for our children, grandchildren, and beyond. I'm sure I picked up on one of the sharing that we all had uh, back a ways, that there was a way to that there was someone or a group that actually taught it from the indigenous standpoint. And then I found in the Jewish tradition that the Talmud lists 8 different gender verifications, and the indigenous where is a very I don't know how to phrase this, but over 40 years I've been working with an indigenous view, very ancient one, that lists 5 bisexual ratio combinations, and what with the understanding that there are lot more variations, which now I'm finding that I would never have found if it hadn't been for the Global Grandmothers Council Network. So that's what I'm working on. And so the vision that I see is a broader understanding of that life on Earth, that in this plane of existence. I call it Earth, but we all know it by the way we know it. Uh, that there is very much a divine purpose for this organization that's happening, and I call it organization of what we have all. Look at our ages and look what we're thinking about, and look at the coming together. This is no accident. This has been in the ethers for a long time, and we've all been working towards it for a long time. So I won't say any more. I don't want to take up any more time, but you can tell I'm excited. Thank you very much.
And I just want to point out that we have many organizations here where several of you come in through the Global Grandmothers, but this is not sponsored by the Global Grandmothers. This is coming really from my work, the Sacred Ground
Yes.
Collective community, of which, we're an umbrella too for so many. So, but glad to have the grandmother.
Could you tell me the name of that, Sharon, one more time? I noticed there was Working Women Moving Mountains listed, but is that
The Sacred Ground,
something
sacredgroundcollective.org is
okay?
my personal organization for my work. And out of that work, which is galactic to Gaia,
Yes, yes,
it's time for us to wake the women. So waking
yeah.
women, moving mountains. So they're connected. Those two are connected.
Waking woman. Okay.
Women, moving mountains. Not just
Moving
waking up, but what actions are we going to be taking?
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Right. And
I am 88 years old, and my experience is that I am not in control. But when I surrender, I'm looking at Marilyn and laughing. When I surrender to, I don't even know what word to use, let's say an energy or a spirit, with which I can connect, but I can't verbalize, and allow it to flow through me and out into the world, miracles happen. I read that poem that I mentioned a lot earlier because it may bring us together, and it's short. It's by someone named Rashani. There is a brokenness out of which comes the unbroken, a shatteredness out of which blooms the unshatterable. There is a sorrow beyond all grief, which leads to joy, and a fragility out of whose depths emerges strength.
thank you so much. Thank you all for being present, to staying with us, sharing. I know you just shared very honestly. We could feel that from one another. And I'm going to propose, and that I am with this recap, I am going to send out a possible statement overview and personal overview that you can play with, put it into your words, and let's come up with, we're going to the same end result, but what is it? And we're talking it with integrity. With what is it for you? So that's what I will do. I will have the poem with it. And anything that you would want to add to those pages, get a hold of me. I will add them. And now I think I'm hoping that you can see that the field that we're on is extensive, and it needs all of us. And it doesn't need one person. There is no magic key. If you need to take a break, because somebody else is now carrying it. So we're all in this together in a way we've talked about, but here we are seeing it and putting it together. We are a tribe of many colors. Right now, we're mostly women, but that's okay. We are the ones who were supposed to design the world anyway. So we're just doing our job, not to exclude men. They will come on and they will dig the holes and make sure it gets planted. So thank you for being here. And I am going to set up 2 weeks down the road another call. If you want to be on another call, do. But I think we need to do some kind of regularity that will be much more supportive than a one-time shot. So we're going to try to share. And I love you. And with that, I'm just
Sharon,
going to
I
ask.
just got one more question. How
Yes.
many of us are attending your course?
Oh, on this page?
Yeah.
1, 2, maybe 2.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
I actually thought they were all people that were attending the
No,
course.
this is the whole, yeah.
Okay.
Good. So with that, I'm going to ask that all the energies that have been added to this field of incredible information and commitment be brought together into this flame, magnified 1,000,000-fold, for our end result of good for the world and all life forms, and sending that out to the world with our blessings. And with that, our circle's closed and our blessings been given. Thank you so much, everyone. Until we meet again. Bye.